Hey guys, so you finally decided to bite the bullet, to pull the trigger, whatever you call it, and you buy a model. So I'll do another video on different types of models, but I'll go into kind of why gunpla or Gundams are relatively easy. Bandai molds different color plastics, so even out of the box, if you didn't want to paint this, you literally could just slap it together and say you've done a model. And for a beginner, this kit, or any Bandai kit, is going to be awesome, especially because of that. Now there are different grades. Of course, this is an SD, and it's EX standard. Not really sure what that means. But you've got HG, which is high grade. You've got MG, which is master grade, real grade, RG, and perfect grade. And then there's no grades. SDs and high grades are very simple. There's no inner frame that I'm aware of. You just kind of build the outer shell and the inner pieces, especially on this one you can really see it. They are the orangish yellow. That would be the inner frame on a real grade or a master grade. But high grade, they're kind of built in. It's the same thing with the SD. So let's get this. But first and foremost, you want to get out of the plastic, and I want to get out of the plastic before I continue on, so because it's loud and I don't like that. So let's get this started. So now that's taken care of, you can kind of look at the pieces individually. If you're going to build them straight out of the box, you don't necessarily have to do anything with these. You just basically put it together. I picked a terrible piece, so hold please. These are poly caps. You can kind of see on this, you've got recesses, and different parts have exposed nubs that will fit into there. It is all snap fit. There's no glue required unless you just absolutely want to. But then you've got your sprue in general. On the sprue, you've got your piece, and up there's runners that connect to the piece itself. And these are part of the injection mold process, and they're going to be there no matter what. Bandai does really well with these. There's still something you'll need to remove the part from the sprue itself, but it's very simple, and we'll get into detail on that. If you plan on painting your gunpla, you definitely, and this is with any model, if you're planning on painting it, always wash it, because you can't feel it, but I can. There's the mold release agent that they use to get this out of the mold cleanly without leaving pieces behind. That needs to come off. Its purpose is there to keep things from sticking, so even if you prime this, even if you painted this, it's still going to want to not stick as well. So the best thing to do is just take some regular dish soap, some warm water, and a toothbrush, and just clean all that off. Once you get all that done, we'll continue on. Alright, so when you're back, it should look almost identical as it did before, just cleaner. I got it pretty much dry. Try and use a paper towel or some other lint-free cloth, because anytime lint sticks here, if you are painting this, then it's going to show up underneath it. But as you can see, we're pretty good, and I don't have any. So the reason why I use this kit to show you is because there are not that many sprues. There's not that many trees, whatever you want to call them. The real grade kits and the master grade kits are 15 to 20 different sprues. And I'll go into that later. But I just kind of want to show you the basic stuff, and then later on we can build together with the Astray. So I've got everything cleaned up. Now is a crucial step. So for the next part, you're going to need several things, or a few things, I guess. You need your sprue cutters. Definitely don't go to a hardware store for these. Go to a modeling store and get them on Amazon for relatively inexpensive. I think I got these at Hobbytown, USA, and I think they were like $8. And they've done pretty well. They probably need to be sharpened, but they're doing the job. You will need a hobby knife. This is an older one. I'll end up having to get better blades later on. But this is just from a tester's kit that I'd gotten a few years ago. It does the work. I use a sanding stick, and if I'm not mistaken, this is like a 320 grit, so I have to use this thing sparingly. So you'd need maybe a 500 or 600 grit to start off with, and I'll show you why. And these are just finishing discs. These are micro mesh. This is 3600, and this is a 4000 grit. So let's get started. So basically, it's very simple. We'll just use this piece right here. What you're going to do to make things easier is you're going to get in there. You don't want to go too close, but you don't want to be too far away, and snip. And the reason why you go kind of farther back is so that you have something that you can trim off the sprue. With it being on the sprue, you run the risk of damaging things, and if you're painting, it's not as big a deal, because most of the time, like if it does discolor, it is the right where the nubs are, it'll start to whiten. You see how that is? That whiteness in there. That'll look like that on the plastic. And if you're not painting it, then that's going to show up and it's going to be hard to sand out and all those things. So now that you've got that off, you've got your extra nubs. I may have cut these a little. Well, that didn't work. But that's okay, you get the idea. So you see we got our little nub mark. These kind of shave. Go a little bit at a time. You don't want to rush it. And you don't want to put any pressure, because if you put pressure, what's going to happen is you're going to gouge the plastic. And apologies for this, this is my first time ever doing anything like this on the camera. Oh, see, I gouged it there. I can fix it. Alright. So now, it's relatively flat, but I still see a little bit of this. And I don't think that I'll need to, no, I don't think I'll need to sand it. I won't need the sanding stick. And that's something you'll just have to judge along the way. And you just take the micro mesh and you kind of go a little bit. And I can't feel, and that's the big thing. You want to not feel anything. So if you were not going to paint your kit, then this may cause some issues. If I can get in focus. But it's an easily rectifiable thing with a little bit of paint. And most of the time when you matte coat these, because you want to matte coat your Gundam, if you've never done that before, it just takes away the plastic look and it gives it more of a rough appearance. So once you do that, you've got your, it'll kind of blend that in, so you won't have to worry about that at all. So I'm going to denub the rest of this stuff, and when we come back, we will carry on. Alright, so I want to talk about this real quick. As you can see on here, it's kind of flat, and you can hear, there's the nub mark. You can also see my fingernail catching right there. That's a mold seam line, and you can leave that in there. If you're just going to be using the model as a display or a toy or whatever, it's not really going to matter. But if you really want to remove it, they make mold line removers that make things a lot easier. And I'm going to try and do this on camera, but you just kind of take your blade perpendicular, kind of scratch off the excess plastic. Now I'm going to paint this, so I'm not really that worried about surface scratches. Just kind of smooth those out, and then you're going to take your sandpaper. Again, if you're going to be displaying this or whatever, and you're not really worried about it and you're not painting it, then I would just leave the mold line in there, or get yourself some seam line remover tool. But you can hear nothing. It's just smooth. It may look rough, but once I prime that and paint it, it'll go away. But I just wanted to do one more side-by-side comparison. Can't really see. Right here you can see the seam, but it's not bad enough. It'll be in that joint. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. So let me finish these up and I'll be right back. Alright, so while you are denubbing and despruing all of your stuff and cleaning up your nubs, what you're going to want to do, and this is just like with any other model kit, they number them. On more complicated kits, you'll definitely want a like a bin or something to store them in, to separate them by parts. It's like right leg, left leg, torso, so on and so forth. But with this kit, it's so simple. There's 3 sprues, 4 including your poly cap. So what you'll want to do, just to keep things easy, is I snip that there, snip that there, just kind of keep C with the C parts, so that way they're all together. You don't necessarily have to. These things are pretty easy and straightforward. There's not really any duplicated pieces, and if they are, they go right leg, left leg, or, you know, right arm, left arm, that type of way. So these aren't that difficult. The only thing I have to do is finish up these. Once I'm done with those, we'll kind of rough assemble it and go from there. Okay, so everything should be denubbed. Oops, sorry for bumping the camera and all of that. The only thing that I have not denubbed yet is the poly caps, and I'll take them off and put them together as they go. Now the reason why you rough assemble it is you can see what assemblies that you can kind of keep together. With poly caps, the only ones that come with poly caps, if I'm not mistaken, are high grades and the SDs. I've not put together a master grade, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a internal frame just like a real grade. So I'm going to keep these on and just snip these off as I need them. These are going to be your flexible moving parts. So let's get out to the instructions and just start loosely assembling and seeing what I can and can't keep together. So it's calling for stickers already, and I don't think that I'm going to use those yet because I am going to paint this. So basically it's having me, and let me separate all these out and I'll be right back. Alright, so it's calling for these 3 parts. Now the cool thing with Bandai is A, they are press fit, so you don't need any glue, and B, you cannot get it wrong. If it doesn't want to go in, so you've got it upside down for say, it will not. And there's some pieces that are very similar, and Bandai is also very particular about how things go. So if you pay attention to directions, they'll tell you which pieces turn up, and when we come to something like that, I'll show you. But it's calling for these pieces. So just roughly assemble the head, and I'm not going to push these all the way together just to make things easier to get them apart. Well, I said I wasn't going to, and it kind of did that. Luckily, I think I should be able to pull them apart again. Because I am going to paint this, I just want to kind of see where seam lines are or anything like that once the head's put together. And it seems like there's one there, and I could probably fill that. I may have to mask off the face, but I could probably fill that and go from there. So let's move on to the next piece, which is these 2 pieces. So basically there's 2 slots. Oh, and I wasn't paying attention. You see how this is recessed right here? I needed this side to go in there. I apologize greatly, I'm doing this on camera, so it's, and again, I'm not pushing this in all the way, just so we can get an idea of what's going on. And one other piece. We've got the central horn. It's crooked. And again, it's in there, but I'm not pushing all the way in. But you get kind of the rough idea. So we'll continue on. I will get this loosely assembled, and you can kind of see what it looks like without stickers, but anything else just kind of out of the box. And that'll give both of us some ideas, and we can kind of talk about them, about what we need to do, or what can be already assembled before we prime and paint. So this is the next piece that I'm working on, and it's introducing polycaps. Now, remember when I was telling you how Bandai is really, really good about making sure that you pay attention to which position you need to go? Well, this polycap, for instance, needs to be, this is saying, hey, pay attention. See how this edge is kind of angled? Those go towards the inside. Definitely put the flat edge on the outside. So just make sure you're paying attention to that, and because that could mess you up later on if you're trying to assemble it and you've got something backwards. And remember what I said? Bandai is really good, so if it doesn't want to go, you did something wrong. That's just how it goes with this stuff. I've only built one, but so far this going on the second one, that's exactly how it is. So just make sure you pay attention if it's got the little, I guess, information warning. Pay attention to which direction you're doing. So as you can see, she's done, or he's done, or whatever it is. Out of the box, no stickers, no nothing. It looks alright. This is something that you could have on your desk. It took me a grand total of maybe 10 minutes to put together. Now, mind you, bigger kits are obviously going to take much more time. There wasn't much in the way of sprues, there wasn't much in the way of detail, but I mean, it does have a lot. Now, all of these little recesses that would normally be this same color on the more expensive kits is a sticker. I'm not going to use stickers. You can use stickers if you want. Once you use them, you will opt for painting them or whatever. So I have gotten this together, kind of looking at it. So the leg essentially just comes out. The polycap stuck in there. To pop that back out. But yes, so this can be primerable all at one time, but I would say the safer bet would be to just take the polycaps off since there are not that many, and just kind of go from there. I've tried right leg with left shoe or left foot, and it seemed to be pretty universal either way. Arms are the same way. But remember, if it does not fit, do not force it. Remember, Bandai does all this stuff for a reason. If it doesn't work, it is because you did something wrong. That's just how these things go. So all in all, kind of review the kit a little bit. It's not bad. Again, this is my first unicorn I've ever built. This is my first SD I've ever built. I figured there would be a lot of stickers. I figured that there would be not as much detail. It is kind of flimsy right now because I don't have it all snapped together because I am going to paint this. So all these little recesses will be painted. The whole kit's going to be painted, and it's not going to be black. I think I'm going to do a different color scheme. But all in all, it's a solid little kit. Looks nice. It's definitely something you could have at your desk at work, just to kind of show off what you've done or whatnot. Yeah, so I guess the next step on this would be priming. And I will show you how to do that thus far. But right now, I'm going to call this a close. I guess I will use this as this is going to be a training video, I guess, on how to prime, how to paint. And then I'll do a second video on weathering. I think this little kit's going to be a lot of fun to weather. It's going to be a lot of fun to paint. My last real grade, again, I did not paint it. I just kind of built it out of the box, matte coated it and weathered it. But I do like this. I like this thing a lot. It's a solid little kit, and I think it will look good on the shelf or anywhere you want to put it. So yeah, I'm going to call this thing done right now. I'm going to separate this out and get ready for the next video, and I guess I'll see you next time.